right now. How do I take this? So we have a cat fight because Rywek's emote is like a blue cat, and Korivain emote is like a white cat, and they both are playing cats. So here we go, and it's starting. The boots are in somewhere. I didn't see it, guys. I think I read Desert Palace, Swamp Palace. Oh, Swamp Palace. That's it's a hard one to get into. You need a lot of requirements: flippers, mirror, and hammer. So we're not gonna get those in the next. It'll take a while. So we'll see. So Ambrosia, as you probably know, we already have a sword with the starting equipment, but you can't use it before you talk to the uncle. That's a weird little twist here that when you don't play a lot, you think, oh, I have a sword, why can I sword the bushes? Well, you can't use it until you speak to the uncle. The uncle gives you the power that you need to do something about it. And so still looking for the first win in this league this season. Let's see if Rywek will be able to manage this. And I am joined right now by Arusta, my co-commentator. How are you doing?
Good. How is everybody tonight?
We're doing great. So right now, we haven't found any item, but the nice thing is we have found bombs. So there's something that it's a bit tricky in Ambrosia or standard. Like you want to find bombs while you do the escape, so you can get the 3 chests in and back of escape. But now we don't have to farm; we will get those guaranteed. Oh, and we get the bow in the chest, so we can clear already a dungeon in Eastern Palace.
What was the Uncle Boots hint?
The boots hint were in Swamp Palace, so it's gonna be a while until we get them because, like I said, there's a lot of requirements needed to go into Swamp Palace.
Yeah, and that would even be something if it's a pendant where you might think, is it worth going into Swamp and maybe having to go do left side for the boots?
Oh yeah. We're gonna see that once someone do a map check, and even we'll have to go to the Dark World first to do a Dark World map check, but it'll be interesting to see how the cookie crumbles, or all the cards fall into places. So you know the escape part of Ambrosia, it's like watching an NMG run, but with different sprites. Sometimes we get lucky, we get a mirror in Zelda cell, and then we can like zoom out to the front. Sometimes we get boots early, but now today it's looking very, very standard. So it's all about execution at this point, which we can see Rywek with like a room advance right now, so it's just a little bit, it's not critical. And we gotta keep in mind, Rywek, I know him, he cannot pump with his controller. He has a weird controller, so it's all about movement and killing stuff. So, Arusta, did you manage to catch a bit of the previous race against from these two teams?
Yeah, I was watching it, and man, that was a rough seed.
Yeah,
It go everywhere.
yeah, it was like all dungeon in disguise. It's rough when you see this. But that's what I think. That's the fun part of Rando. We might get a super jet seed from these two guys, or we might get something even crazier. So we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because I mean, at least of the ambrosia seeds I've seen this week, a lot of them have been pretty rude in some way or another.
Yeah, well, Rando will finds a way to make a reference to the team that we're playing today. And Korivain is the first one to get to the 3 chests in the bag of escape. Ice Rod. It's interesting. So that's always a relief when we find Ice Rod early. That means it won't last location it. And
yeah, and that's always good because Ice Rod is, since it's not required for anything except Trinex, it can basically be anywhere in the game.
Yep. It's the bane of many players, and today it won't be any problem. But don't let that trick you into the assurance that the game will be like gentle with us. It will probably find a way to still stab us in the back. Well, the runners. For us, it's all good, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing just to note, Korivain has done some very nice movement tech. You mentioned he was about a room behind an escape, and now he's pretty much a room ahead coming out of escape. So very nice movement.
Yeah, we could say that Rywek was more of a specialist of the front of escape, and Korivain was more of a specialist of the back of escape. Everybody has its own weakness and strengths, and clearly both add difference. And nice bomb pull. And we see that Korivain is doing the same as his teammate Ovidus did before, to go check the lumberjack straight away, which gave him a big advantage in the end here. And Rywek is sticking with the tried and tested. Let's wait for the boots. And there was
I don't
nothing.
know if Rywek saw the earlier match, but you would guess once he finds boots, he's going to at least check that and make sure it doesn't have that same unfortunate last location.
Yeah, I think Rywek was probably watching that match because he was waiting on it to finish so he could start, and it started like 1 hour later than he anticipated from the schedule, so he was probably watching. So he probably has clearly in his mind that he will have to check that at some point. He doesn't want to repeat history. And we got a map check while Korivain was in Lumberjack, and we got 2 crystals in Eastern and Era. Desert, it's the blue pendant. Oh, already a Master Sword. What do you think about that?
I always feel bad about getting Master Sword super early because a lot of times that sort of makes you wonder, is it going to be Aga?
Oh yeah, it opens the doubt in you. Do I have to go do Aga? Don't I have to do it? We'll see. But until we find a fire source, I don't think you have to think too much about it. But,
yeah, if I remember right, I believe it's specifically lamp, not just fire source, because there are at least a couple rooms without fire rod access, so it's not logic.
Yeah, totally. The fire rod doesn't give access to Aghanim. Only the lamp. And usually, but not always, but usually, more often than not, when you have an Aghanim seed, you will often find both the cape and the Master Sword. But it's not guaranteed, but sometimes it happens a lot. So we'll see if we find a suspicious cape. Maybe it can put people towards Aghanim, but we'll see. I know I play a lot of versus Rywek, and I don't think he's he doesn't like to do Aghanim super early, so until I'm pretty sure we're gonna see a lot cleared before we attempt that on his part. Korivain,
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be.
And I mean, really, with the amount of time it is, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And we got our Moon Pearl. Oh, and Korivain picked up the chicken instead of the bomb, and that could have been really bad, because something that is not very known, but it can happen, is if you pick up the chicken at the frame that the bomb explodes, you will be like soft locked in a weird position where you can't do anything about it, and it really is not fun.
Really, I don't know if I've ever seen that, but that's good to know.
Yep. It can happen. Sometimes you play for a year and then randomly you pick up a chicken and then you're stuck with the... It's like you have an invisible chicken over your head and you're stuck in it and you can enter or exit the door. So you have to save and quit and you can go check the chest. It feels really bad. Rywek is on his way to Eastern. It makes sense. He can clear it, and then he can also check the 3 items in the closet of our friend Sarashrada. So
yeah, and just in case anyone missed it, also library was also dead. So theoretically, boots wise, you know, even though they're in Swamp Palace, it may or may not be required unless there's something really key in desert or the beloved Ganon's torch.
Yeah, there's a few things that might... Oh, okay, Thieves Town will be the green pendant. That sounds familiar. Wasn't it? You know, last game it was the swamps, but Thieves Town was a pendant, I think.
Yeah, Thieves Town was a pendant in the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And just Ninban points out in chat that the soft lock is actually picking up the chicken as it's about to move, so you pick up an empty actor. So it could actually happen anywhere, not just in that room.
Oh my god. So it doesn't have to do anything with the bomb. The only time it happened to me, it felt like it was because the bomb exploded at the same time, but then really, the chicken, you gotta be very careful with the chicken then.
Yeah, seems like it.
All right, thanks Zinban for the clarification. And Korivain finds a nice 300 rupees here. He's gonna do the mini Modern Cave, and then since he has the Moon Pearl, he can safely do... Oh, and he has flippers, so no matter what I say, he can do just normal flipper checks that will lead him to Zora, which he will now be able to purchase the item at it. So that's nice. And with the flippers, it's now also in logic. So I like what he's doing here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rywek picked up hook shot and gets to do the eastern side of, or this eastern chest the very nice way.
Yep.
The fast way.
Saves a bit of time. Nobody is ever against saving time. Except all the people that don't like Icebreaker or Diver Down, but I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I wonder, you know, what is interesting about the Rywek routing is he banking on getting a early crystal, but it's not going to be in logic because you don't have the lamp, right? But he's going to get a crystal. If Korivain finds like hammer right now, he can, and mirror, say, okay, he can do pod and eastern in one take, and that's going to save him a little bit of time. So
yeah, and it's also interesting to note Rywek has now found 2 items there in the front, and since this is Ambrosia mode, it means he can go straight to the boss and can skip the big key chest because he already knows the 3rd item there in Eastern is on Armo.
Yeah, that's the thing with Ambrosia, that you have to... one of the hardest part about Ambrosia sometimes, you know, is not forgetting about that. Because it's really easy when you're a player that plays a lot of seeds, a lot of different modes. And I mean, Ambrosia is not like the modes the people play the most, but so sometimes you get in your you just forget about it because you're just so used to thinking about the 3 items and not the boss item. But it looks like Rywek thought about it, and he did really well in the room in the dark. That's not a easy one for any means. Sometimes you can get tricked by the popos or the Igor, so he did pretty well.
Yeah, meanwhile, Korivain's checks thus far have gotten him basically a third sword and not much else through
he just
a lot of these flippers check.
well, he just got a glove.
Oh,
but yeah,
of course,
just
I
as you
think
were
I'm
saying
lagging
it.
a little bit, but yep.
Okay,
That's a good thing, though.
yeah. So the glove they still don't have like the lamp, but technically, if you go to the mountain right now with the hookshot that is in Sashrola, it gives you access to most of the mountain. Not Era still, but that's a lot of checks. So we gotta. The lamp must be somewhere. Could be in Agina, so I wouldn't be afraid to go there without going to Agina. So we'll see how they do. Because now I'm pretty sure Rywek is gonna do the South Shore, and I'm pretty sure Korivain is gonna head up to the Eastern Palace. So we're gonna see a mismatch or a crisscross of their routings.
Yeah, and up on Zora, Korivain paid $300 for $500. Very good business model by Zora there.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the worst thing you can... it's like one of the least worst. Then that it's one of the best. Yeah. My French brain here was really struggling. Yeah, it's one of the best thing you can get that's not an item. So at least you have the money still to... when you'll get in Dark World, like, you know, there are some pricey things in there, like the chess game, the digging game, and you have to enter pod at some point too. So having a little trust fund is always nice. Let's see if Korivain is going to head up into Eastern, or he's going to opt to go to the mountains straight up. Oh, he's going to go Eastern. I can't blame him.
Yeah, as a clearable crystal, that does make a lot of sense to just knock it out.
Yeah, exactly. And we're far away from being able to do the pod and Eastern thing. We're still missing the pod, the hammer, and the mirror. So get the crystal. It's always good to get a crystal. You know, I think in the last game, Korivain, not Korivain, Obnius versus Ninban, the first crystal was like after 1 hour for Obnius. So that's never a good feeling. So getting crystals on the board, it's always fun. And Rywek is gonna do Ice Rock Cave. I don't know if we saw Korivain do it.
No, I think Korivain skipped it and went straight from Boldorm to the flippers checks.
And he totally did the superior play here, because Ice Rock Cave is the worst place in the game. It's far away, it's always empty, and nobody likes it. So let's see Rywek getting nothing out of it and losing time. Right here, right now. And there we go. We have a lesson here in a cave.
Yeah, and even at least getting a boomerang out of it is more than you usually get. Usually it'll be something like 5 or 10 arrows or 3 bombs or something completely useless.
Yeah. Normally I would say, oh, that's not too bad. You can like do splash meditation with it. But he has the flippers, so it was really a big loss of time. You can't even say, oh, that's his first way to do stun prize, because he has the hookshot. So it's really a big waste of time. But it's now he has the clear of mindness. You know, doesn't need to go back there. And
yeah, and so let's see when Korivain does this, if he also remembers the ambrosia allows him to skip the big key chest here.
Yeah.
After he gets his second.
And that's yeah, he looks like he's aware of it. That's great. Also,
good.
that fairy in a bottle opens up the sick kidler. So let's see. We'll see later if that's the progression we're looking for. And oh, the Igor has evaded. There's an Igor on the loose. Oh, we found one. Is it the one with the key? It wasn't. Oh, that's a problem. But yes, tempered. So tempered is a good way to just slash away and find it somewhere. And I think he got it now. Yep.
Yeah, those sword beams really help because he saw him stop a little before they would normally stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what sometimes you can do the same thing you do normally, and the Igor just goes a little bit differently, and then you don't see it. When you right now with the tempered sword, it was not that bad, but sometimes when you have like no sword, it can get really dicey in there. But everything is good, and we're already up to almost Knights. And we're gonna get the crystal. Meanwhile, Rywek is gonna do the Zora check, and then I guess after that, I would bet on the fact that he's gonna check the mountain.
Yeah, the mountain would make a lot of sense, because even though it's out of logic without lamp, you get a lot of checks right there with the hook shot already available.
And we missed the quick fight, but still doing good here. And the Knights are no more. Could we say they are retired? Or slain? Slain Knights.
I think slain. But, yep, looks like Rywek's going to check the Sick Kid before he goes up the mountain, which makes some sense, because Sick Kid is actually in logic, whereas the mountain is not, even though it's more checks.
Yeah, and there's not a lot in logic. I think the Sick Kid or Agina probably has either like the hammer or another pair of glove or the lamp or the flute. I could list them all, but like there's not a lot of but it could still yeah. And looks like Rywek is deciding to follow the logic here. Meanwhile, Korivain looks like he's saying, I don't care about the logic, and I'm gonna go to the mountain. So let's see if it's lamp. It can be good for Korivain, but in a way, it's still good to find a lamp in their position right now because we don't have any fire source. So a fire source is always good. I wouldn't mind, but we'll see. So,
yeah, and so it looks like Rywek is just going straight to Agina, is not going to go west and just check the visible item on the desert ledge, which he couldn't get to, but sometimes it's nice to know that, but makes sense just to put it off and see if you've got a better chance later.
Totally. And let's see what we got. I'm betting on the mitts here. It's the flute! So the flute puts the mountain in logic, and it's gonna be a quicker way to travel around the world too.
Yeah, given that they don't have boots and still need several more items before they could even get to Swamp Palace, that flute might be very nice for Rywek to save some time moving around.
Yeah, and we see some mitts on the top of the Spectacle Rock. That will require us a mirror. Which probably is gonna be located somewhere in the east of the Dead Mountain, which Korivain is heading towards with his trusty hookshot. And we hear a sweet sound of... Oh, I should not talk about... okay.
The sweet sound of an ocarina, yep.
Yeah, I was about to ruin it by talking all over it, but now we got to hear it. It's a sweet, sweet melody. It puts some of us to sleep. But if you're falling asleep, I say, well, you shouldn't, because we're having an exciting match here, right here on SpeedGaming 2. So, stay awake.
Yeah, Korivain finding Quake there, which is very nice to at least get one of the medallions.
Yep. The more medallion you get, the less problems in life you will have later on. Because later on... Wow! Okay. That book in Paradox is very nice for Korivain because it will bring him towards the desert. He can go there, and he can also get his ocarina right after.
Yeah, and with the fire rod as well, it means that fire. I mean, now having a fire source, can't really get back to the back end of desert.
Yeah.
Well, potentially, depending on how desert's set up, because we know they won't have boots when he goes in there if he goes there right now.
Exactly, but with what is open to them and everything, I feel like it looks like an item will be in desert at this point. Because,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense because they're sort of running, especially Korivain is sort of running short of checks.
Yeah. And if Korivain is lucky and he goes toward desert first and he gets the Ocarina, something that he will be able to chain is he's going to be able to check the sick kid when he goes to open his Ocarina. Well, unleash the bird. So, you know, doing a little bit of a little bit less of back and forth. That's efficiency, and that's the best you can have in Link to the Past is efficiency in your routing.
Yeah, definitely. And also chat pointing out, which we didn't mention, but there is the half magic on the floating island, which is the kind of thing if they get back there, if they get back there with Mir already when they do Hookshot Cave, you know, you'd probably consider going to get it. It's not something you'd make a specific check for, though.
Yeah, I don't know because it looks like it's very easily accessible, you know, if you have the stuff to do it, but it's honestly like about 30 seconds, and we're in a league where 30 seconds can be the difference between winning and losing. So everybody's at this point pretty good with the magic. You know, I've never seen anyone complain that they didn't have enough magic. So I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But it could be not unreasonable to do it. But it takes longer than it looks. If it's like a sword, you go for it for sure because it will save you time. But half magic, it won't really save you time. It's just gonna make you a little bit less stressed about the magic consumption.
Yeah, makes sense.
And yeah, Korivain got his flute just before he does desert, so the routing is really in his favor here. But Rywek is really not that far behind. In fact, I wouldn't say he's behind. He's just routed differently.
Yeah, because remember, Rywek has also made a couple extra overworld checks, which Korivain has skipped, which, you know, maybe if they run into a last location situation before, those could pay off for Rywek not having to go back for those checks these left very isolated now.
Yeah, and you know, Rywek is not going to have to, since he already has his flute activated right now, he can just straight flute to desert from the mountain and he's going to save the way, you know?
Yeah, so, absolutely.
So let's see what we find in here. Are we gonna find the mirror? That's gonna be that would be funny because it would like do like go to the desert area to get the flute, go to the mountain to get the book, go to the desert to get the mirror, go to the mountain to go just a ping pong of progression. Or tennis or badminton or volleyball.
Yeah, and getting that key early, so essentially going to do the right side here.
Yep.
One thing to note is that Desert has 2 items, and since this is Ambrosia, you know one of them is on the boss, so really there's only 1 item that he can find up here.
Yeah, and he got the big key, so that means that he can beat the boss no matter what at this point, and the second item might be blocked by the boots, or it could be the compass. And I guess we'll find out in like 20 seconds. So, and it is a compass. So we're gonna get 2 items from here. Maybe we're not, if we get the mirror, say, maybe we don't go beat the boss. It's gonna be a decision to do. Well, we're gonna go beat the boss, I guess.
Yeah, so a big 20. So yep, that means the progression is very likely on land modes.
Well, I don't think. Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, I was thinking maybe powder, but we don't have the armor for that. So I don't think there's anything that we can get right now that we haven't seen. For Korivain, he doesn't know about the sick kid, but yeah, it makes sense to go beat Land Molas at this point.
Yeah, Korivain has a couple extra checks: the sick kid, the ice rod cage.
Yeah, that's true.
But we know that they're dead. So
yeah, Korivain is gonna be able to go get the. If he does get the ice rod cave, he will be able to go with the flute, and that's a bit efficient. Let's see. So possibilities of what we find here. The worst one would probably be the lamp, because that would mean Aghanim in logic for the mirroring for the mirror in light world or dark world. A good one would be mirror or hammer.
yeah, mirror would be interesting because that would then route them right back up to Death Mountain. But then having Mitz and mirror up there. Probably route in a lot of those Dark Death Mountain checks at the same time right afterwards.
Yeah, and you can do Era.
Yeah, and you can do Hera, which is a clearable crystal. And
we have the Oak Shot, so we could do Era Pot. It's going to be quick. And Era Pot is very, very strong in Ambrosia, because since you have a guaranteed item on the boss, you don't have too much. There's less chance that you get punished by the big key. It's the hammer. All right. So that is our Dark World access. And now we can get to a whole lot of places. And we're going to be able to find what our crystals are today.
Yeah, with hammer, basically you could start at the village and do all the village checks. Or you could start down just south of Link's house and do Hype Cave, possibly into Pod if you'd like.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for Rywek to start from Link's house because he has knowledge that Thieves Town is a green pendant and he has already done the flute stuff. Meanwhile, for Korivain, it makes sense to go start from the Village of Outcasts because he needs to activate his flute ASAP. And that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, that's a good call. That makes a lot of sense for both runners here.
Yeah, I think Rywek will probably head into Pod right after checking maybe the pyramid. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Skullwoods. Hey, it looks a lot like last game. Except the color is different, but...
Yeah, the 5 and 6 crystals are Pod and Ice Palace there. And then Skull Woods has the red pendant. And we already knew Thief's other pendant.
Yeah. Where was Mirror? Are you talking about last game? Because in this game we don't know where is Mirror. But last game we know that Mirror was in the Almost Knights in game 1. And the lamp is found.
So Burna, Mirror Shield, and the lamp. What would you say that is on Hype Cave? Maybe like a 4 out of 10? 5 out of 10?
Yeah, that's not very good. I mean, lamp is nice to have. Like, it's a quality of life more than at this point. And it puts in logic a lot of stuff for Rywek, like Pod right now. And but yeah, it's nothing like that you're crazy to find. I mean, if you found the mirror, it would be way more happier. Yeah, it's gonna go check the... Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was going to say at this level... I'm sure both of them are completely fine with doing Dark Pod if they really had to.
Yeah. And the only thing Rywek, I know, for some reason, he's a big fan of the shields. Like, everybody always complain about the shield because it makes a little bit... Some rooms are more laggy and you can lose time. But Rywek really loves his shield. And there's no asking why, he just loves it. So for him, maybe a 5 out of 10. Just for the moral support it gives him to have a mirror shield.
Yeah, that makes sense. And on the pyramid there, getting a second bottle, so he now actually has 2 fairies in bottles.
Yeah.
So if he goes to Pod and wants to Death Warp, it's not going to work out very well for him.
Yeah. And yeah, he's going to go into Thieves Town, but it's a green pendant, so yeah, maybe we'll see if he... It's always... I think for Thieves Town, it depends often on the number of chests you get in the front. I mean, items. If you get like 3 items, which is the maximum you can get, then sometimes you feel more inclined to leave the rest behind. But if you only find like 1 item, it's very tempting to finish it.
Yeah, and one thing to note here is that we do have, again, Rywek does not have mirror and has his own fairy in a bottle, so if he's going to try to death warp, it's going to take him longer than normally would.
Oh yeah, and let's see if he tries to do that. So it's like, it happens a lot that people forget that they have a fairy, and it's always hilarious. Well, I like to laugh at their mistakes, so... But for them, it's
perfectly fine. But I think, no, looks like Korivain's going to the back, so
yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and clear it, which makes sense since you know there's an item on blind, and there's also the green pendant. So really, you're getting 2 items from completing this dungeon.
Yeah, and we already have we already have the blue pendant from desert. And then we have also all the tools necessary to get the last crystal pendant at Skullwood. So if we want to play the ped game, the quick ped strategy, it's all in his right to do it.
Yeah, that'll make chat happy, right?
Yeah. But he has the book right now, so he could also go check it. But there's no really a reason to check it in this right now, because you have to check the bosses anyway. They have items guaranteed, so there's no really time to save. And the time it will take you to go read the pedestal, you could have been halfway done with the boss of Matsura. So we'll see how it all pans out. But right now, 2 different approach to this Dark World, and only one. But well, maybe not one, but. There could be both, right? Some great seeds have multiple ways to beat them. Sometimes you will just find the god route. So that's all. I hope nobody gods route today. We have a great seed.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Korivain in the top there finding just a piece of heart, based on his item menu. I think he still has compass, so at least one dungeon item to get. So
yeah, that would be on the bus.
Yeah. So I think he's got compass, and I don't see that he has the key. So it looks like the only item left is on the boss.
Yeah. Well, let's see if he opens the chest here, because that will mean if he realizes that he's in. Dungeon go mode, I'd say. Oh, he realizes. That's good.
Yep, he started walking towards it and then remembered. Good thought.
And that's good for any of you fantasy leaguers here. I mean, he has a smaller chest count at the end, so if you have him in your team, you're winning right now. Oh, I like it. He's not going for the heart. He's fully confident in his blind fight. And here we go. Korivain versus blind. So far, it's a great fight. He's on script. He's taking no damage. Oh, and just a little bit dicey at the end here, but he got it done for $20.
Yeah, the script is very nice there for any of you who might not be aware. Blind actually operates on a script. If you make the same actions, he will react the same way. Typically, ideally you'd know all 9 hits of it, but at least learning the first phase and a half of it really, really helps if you're a newer runner.
Yeah. I would say I'm an experienced runner in this game, and I still don't know the blind fight. So kudos to Korivain. Very nice execution. Meanwhile, Rywek, I don't think I've found anything of progression right now in Pod. He's found Master Sword or Butter Sword right now, but I don't think
that's just Butter Sword is the only thing he's found thus far.
Yeah. And that's a big, but it's still there's still a big room left here, and we'll see if he remembers about the ferry soon.
Yeah, he just dumped off the 2 fairies on his way out of the last room, so he definitely remembered.
Perfect. And he's
It is
tanking
worth
damage.
noting that he does have the bug net, so if he ever wants fairies back, he can at least, refill those bottles if he really wants to.
And he should, because the fairies are very good. Because the fairies, they bring you back to life when you die, and that's very good because then you save time. And yeah, nothing in pod, but maybe on Elmazor, because we know it's going to be an item.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense to, just go ahead and full clear it like he's doing. It's a crystal, it's clearable crystal, you can be done with it. That makes a lot of sense the way he's routing this.
Yeah. There's, like, if it's completely empty, maybe Korivain will be a little bit lucky if he's able to go mode it, but I don't think we're gonna see that because it makes a lot of sense to go in there when you get the lamp. And apparently, we found the mirror in the digging game,
which is a really nice place to put it because, like as Chad has pointed out, it allows him to do the circle of bushes like he did, which rather than having to isolate that location.
Yeah, and also having the mirror, it lets him technically go into Swamp Palace right now. And he can full clear it, and then when he goes towards Pod, he'll be able to use his mirror to check Sarshwala with the green pendant on his way to Pod. And also the mirror, don't forget, gives up the myths on the mountain.
And so also, for anybody who joined us late, the hint for the boots is that they are in Swamp Palace. So this play is really going to help out Korivain in a lot of ways, finding that mirror.
I'd say right now Korivain actually is only looking really for the Cane of Samaria, and then maybe the medallions. But that's it for Go mode.
Yeah, and I mean, technically he doesn't have lamp, but we know he's going to get lamp because you have to imagine he's checking hype cave on his way up there. So
if he skips hype cave, then he's a real god. I've seen Kakariko Smith chains, Kakariko village skips, but I've never really seen a hype cave smith skip. So that's one for the books if he does it.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what scenario would, even if you're trying to think of one where it would make sense to skip it in a fairly normal mode like this, unless you really had literally everything before you entered Dark World the first time.
Yeah. Totally. And Rywek gets his second crystal. And we're now 2 crystals. No. Well, he's a 2 crystal, and then Korivain has 1 crystal, but 2 pendants. Let's see what he does.
Yeah, just to make Chad happy, it is worth noting that the pedestal could contain the Cane of Samaria, since the last pendant is in Skull Woods, so Chat, you can still love that if you'd like.
Yeah. Or it could also be either Bombos or Ether, which could also be needed. Most likely, I'd say it's unlikely that the Quake is both the entrances, but it's possible. But in the French community, we have something we call Théorème de Vivi, which is like Vivi is one of the runner in French, and he made a theorem that if you have 2 out of the 3 medallions, you are good 90% of the time, so you can pretty much go mode. But if you have only 1, it's a risky go mode.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to imagine before he decided to start go moding stuff with just the 1 medallion, you'd want to at least flute your way around and make sure you're good.
Yeah. And yeah, well, we're going a left side swamp first here, before the back. We'll see if it pays out for him. And Rywek went all the way back from Pod. He did the long walk towards the catfish, and I can't blame him because catfish is very isolated at this point. There will never be a better time to go do it. He doesn't have the flippers to do it with the, South Shore, North Shore. So, but it was only for money. And let's see if Rywek will. He bailed on his friend here. He's gonna go into Tower of Era.
Yeah, this is an interesting play because it's quite. It doesn't seem like it, but it's quite a walk to get up to Hera just for those 2 items. Well, 3 items because he can also get the tablet while he's up there.
Yeah, but imagine, okay? Imagine he finds the mirror there, which we know he won't. But for him, he doesn't know. He's thinking, "What if the mirror is in there? If it's in there, I will. I wait because like the options are pendant dungeons." He's getting a crystal, which he will need to do anyways, and then if the mirror is there, he gets the mitts right then, and he can just go back to the east and get all the items. So it looks like he's doing crystal first strategy here, which pays a lot most of the time. Because you're not wasting time doing crystal.
Yeah, definitely. It does make sense. We'll see what's actually in Hera. Ideally for him, or the one thing, that is really going to matter for him is that Korivain with that mirror will be able to do this a little quicker because he'll also be able to get his mitts at the same time.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, in this seed, it doesn't look like it's going to pay off that well for him.
Exactly. You look at the decision right now, and with the knowledge we have, we know it's an unfortunate decision from his part, but you have to think from his perspective, not knowing where it is, it makes sense to do it. So
yeah, definitely.
We can say what a bad play. It's a good play, just unfortunate. Korivain is still looking for the boots. They were in the left side, so they probably will be in the sunken chest, or maybe it's gonna be on Argus. It's here. Always a good feeling when you get your boots. Everything feels crisper, faster, stronger, better. I didn't want to sound like Daft Punk here, but that's how it feels.
Nice. I liked the joke. I liked it. One thing as well, for those of you who missed the first few minutes of this seed, is that Korivain has actually already checked Lumberjack and Library, and they're both dead. Rywek checked Library, but has not seen Lumberjack.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, Iggy will be able to route it with the bunk rocks and and everything. So he's not in any trouble right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice fight from Korivain's side on Argus. And looks like Rywek is doing a quick mold arm with Butter Sword. It's very, very trivial. And we get a simultaneous kill and crystal pickup. So right now you hear the music and it applies to both runners, so you have to choose in your mind which one you want it to be. Oh, and there's an item in Era basement. That's unfortunate. I said in Ambrosia it's often you get the item for free, but now there's no cheating in this one. You have to go back and do the whole thing. And if Korivain decides to not do it because he's in go mode or something when he gets in the Era, well, it's gonna save time.
Yep, commentator's curse.
I mean, if I can curse Rywek, I'm not against it. Rywek is well known in the French community for being my bane. He always gets me in the crystals. I mean, what did I say? He always, like in the French tournaments, he always the one that gets me out of it. So I wish him the worst.
So that's why you signed up to commentate the match. I see. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep. I want to see him burn, but no. We're friends.
Oof, and unfortunately the Hera basement does not pay off at all just with bombs.
It is what it is. And Korivain got the lamp right here. Let's see if he goes in pod or if he's tempted by something else. Because the myths are pretty nice, I feel. But pod is also very tempting. I can see why he would be willing to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, and having already cleared Eastern, really getting the myths. I mean, getting the myths aren't really going to affect him at all while he's here. And he also, remember, has that mirror, so he can get green pendant pickup as well while he's here.
Yep. If he remembers, and he does. Let's see if it will pay, because 3 bombs. Not today. But that's a good news for Rywek that Korivain is gonna full clear pod. In a way, also, I mean, this variation of pod that we see today was not very go mode friendly because the big key is very far deep in the second part of the dungeon. So Korivain, even if he was in go mode, he wouldn't not have saved a lot of time in this dungeon. He will have the boots and the mirror, so that'll make the routing a little bit crisper for him, I guess. And we're gonna see a pedestal check from Rywek.
Okay, everybody get hyped up for what's probably going to be like a big 20.
Yeah, couch cash. Oh, it's a boomerang. It's the red boomerang. We need that at all cost. I would not be surprised if Rywek goes for it.
I mean, how else are you going to Ancilla glitch when you need to splash delete or something?
Exactly. And you can do some fun stuff, you know, with Ancilla. That's not legal, but you can still do it with like summary bounce and stuff. It's great. But I don't think we'll see it. But he still, like I said, like it doesn't really matter. He still has to go kill the bosses if he wants us. And he looks like he's heading towards Thieves Town. Let's see. Because I think Thieves Town didn't have anything, right? The mirror is in the chess game. So if he goes inside and just get the front, that'll save him a little bit of time.
Yeah, correct. Thieves Town didn't really have anything, and then also we know the green pendant didn't have anything either.
Exactly. Yeah, I know all about the glitches. You can ask me all the questions. I made like a great Wikipedia page with all the Ancilla flippers stuff in it. So I am like the master of all the glitches.
Meanwhile, since we're about an hour into the seed and we're going to mostly see checks that we've already seen for the next couple minutes, just to give anyone an update who's joining late. So this is 2 teams which played a game right before this. That was Ninban versus Ovidius Nash. Ovidius took that game, and then this is the second of our double headers here on SpeedGaming 2. My name is Arusta. My co-commentator is Scary Olive. Shoutouts to Mind of Me, our tracker, as well. This week is Ambrosia Seeds, which, if you're not familiar with it, is they started standard seed. They got a hint that the boots are in Swamp Palace, and the other unique thing about Ambrosia is that one of the real items, whatever it is, not a map, compass, big key, etc., will always be on a boss, so you need to factor that into your dungeon routing a little bit.
Yeah, and let's not forget to but he referenced himself, but let's shout out to Arusta. I think you're doing a very nice job of this commentary, and I really like your presence. You know, when you speak, just like right now, it was really nice to listen to. I was like digging it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So yeah, it looks like Rywek is doing the second part of Thieves Town, while Korivain is gonna clear up Pod right here and go probably get the boss done. So a little bit of deja vu, as we like to say.
Yeah, and right now, Korivain is a little ahead from finding those primarily from finding those boots and making the call to do the mirror from Dig Game earlier. But it's by no means over in any way, shape, or form, because they're still going to be looking for that red cane, and right now we have no idea where that's at.
Yeah, that's the big mystery. We know where it isn't, but where it isn't, that we don't know. And it could very be at a lot of places.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll also see once they finish up here, presumably once Korivain finishes Pod, and then once Rywek finds the mirror as well, they're going to get those mitts, which are on top of Spectacle Rock, and that's going to open up a lot of options for him as well. Yeah.
When we get the mitts, there's going to be like so many things that we'll find out. Like we'll find out what are his medallions. And that's something it's a bit, I feel, I'm wondering like why Korivain with the mirror already hasn't get his mitts so fast, because, you know, the knowledge of knowing what you need to finish the seed is very important. And right now, say he find that he needs only Ether, and he finds, his go mode of Kane in here. Well, he knows he's not in go mode, but if he checks he has the knowledge, well, he can know when he's in go mode. And knowing when you're in go mode, it can make you save time, you know. So
yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see once he finishes Pod, because at that point you could very easily mirror and then flute up and get your mitts, rather than, you know, it sort of isolates the pyramid and catfish, but those are just 2 checks, and they're kind of out of the way checks for him as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he does that right now or takes those 2 checks before checking mirror.
Yeah.
Mitts.
And I can understand also from his point of view, like, he's know that he's maybe in 1 or 2 item go mode. So if he found the cane in here in Pod, he could technically like almost do the mountain in only just one go, you know. But he still have to go back to go clear Mire, so we're always gonna do at least 2 trips to the mountain at this point. But maybe he wants to avoid doing 3 trips. We'll see. And once again, almost I can't say this word. Simultaneous kills of the bosses.
Yeah, and chat pointing out a good call about the fact that after Ice Palace, there will have Pyramid Fairy available. So if he wants to do Pyramid to Catfish, like put that off, that would be a nice time to do it.
Yep. I know that Rywek is like super well known for his love of the Ice Palace. It's like even almost a meme at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Rywek go really fast in ice when he gets his mitts. And looks like Korivain is gonna do the catfish play right now instead of later. And looks like Rywek is gonna finish the checks he's doing on the Salt Shore before. Maybe he's gonna do Swamp Palace for his boots right now. And I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, just to finish off your loop, because you can get basically everything down here except Dig Game, and you know you're getting boots from Swamp Palace, from Crystal Swamp Palace.
You know, I'm thinking about this seed right now, and like I am having an image of like a yin and the yang. You know, like a spiral, a twirl, and they're doing like the same sequences but in the different order, but it's like all gonna end up at the same place where they have all the same things and they have done the same things.
Yeah, in terms of actual progression and all that, they're pretty much just mirroring each other. The only difference here is that Korivain is doing some of these checks faster because of having boots for what, good 15-20 minutes ahead of.
And he's orphaned a lot, way a lot more than Rywek has. So if he gets into a stump, maybe he will have to go check Ice Red Cave and some other stuff. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure there was some stuff that he left behind that we have to do. Well, I think it's mostly Ice Red Cave, now that I think about it, at this point.
Yeah, Ice Rod Cave is the big one that's sort of a little out of the way that he hasn't done, that Rywek has. However, we know, since we've seen Rywek do it, that it's not really going to pay off for him at all.
Yeah, so. and Era. He has Era now, but it's not like he's orphaning or something. It's just like he hasn't done it. But like we were talking about the mirror, Korivain will most likely do Era right after getting his mitts, while he's still in swamp. But now we're seeing him coming back. I would have thought about the mirror to the flute, but he's coming back. Why is he gonna use the hook shot to go check the graveyard ledge and the boot checks? That's very nice. So he's not gonna orphan anything in the overworld, and from now on, he'll pretty much have done everything in the overworld except for the Ice Red Cave we started, and then he will be missing the Swamp Palace, not the Skullwoods. So, but most of the Light World and Dark World will be cleared for him. So, and Rywek, we'll see if he does the left side of Swamp, because we know Korivain did it very early. In fact, he did it before he went to the back, and I didn't really pay him for him. And it has 2 items, according to a Mind of Me, the tracker that's doing the best job in the world. So he will probably go, but maybe he could gamble that it's not there. Well, okay, if it's 1 item, as we're reporting in the chat, then maybe it's more tempting to skip it. We'll see. The time will tell. Rywek is not a big gamble guy, but he's still like sensible play. For 1 item, I could see him skipping it. We'll see.
Yeah, especially since the biggest item, I mean, he knows he's still looking for Kane, of course, but the biggest item he knows is in here is boots. So maybe once he finds those boots and then sees only 1 item, you gamble that, hey, it won't be the Kane, which is the big item he's looking for outside of this.
Yep. And while we were talking, Korivain already checked Lumberjack, so he doesn't have to. And we missed to mention that the silvers were found in Graveyard Ledge. So Korivain will have a faster time killing some bosses like the Mizumire Vitreous, and Ganon will be a little bit faster. So that's not guaranteed that Rywek is gonna go get those. So that's a nice find for him.
Yeah, depending on how Rywek routes this, it very well might be one of those locations he doesn't go back to, because unlike Korivain, Rywek has already checked the catfish in the pyramid ledge.
Yep. And we see the corn puffs getting slain. And now it's time for the high. It's an easy fight with the Butter Sword, but it's always fun to do. And that's gonna be number 4, crystal number 4. 1 hour-ish in the seed. I would say that's a good... whenever I get 4 crystal, I like to be like around 1 hour mark. I feel like I'm in a good spot. Especially he has also 2 the pendants, so that's very great for him. Korivain is attempting a glitch that's called Aeropot. Let's see if he gets it. It can be dangerous if he misses it. He can technically soft lock. And he gets it successfully.
Yeah, very nice strategy there to keep using his pause buffer there to make sure he's on the exact right pixel and able to do it perfectly.
Yeah. The Aero Pot consists of 2 pixel perfect placement of bombs that you have various setups to accomplish. And then you have, once you get you clip a little bit into the pot, you are now able to hookshot your way across, and if you do just the right movement, you will fall into the pot and get to all the way to the top. That will make you avoid the big key sometimes, and it's faster if you do it very quickly.
Yeah, it's worth noting that even if you're in go mode and you get the big key before that, it is actually still faster to pair a pot than to go up the normal way.
Yeah.
It's not an enormous difference, but it's a nice, I think I've heard about 10 to 15 seconds, depending on how good you are at doing it quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It has diminishing returns the more time you lose by doing buffers and missing the bomb. But if you get it like super cleanly, it's way faster. I think when I do it, I probably lose time. But, you know, you practice it. Right now I'm losing time, but I'm investing in the future that the more you do it, the more you will save time. So, and now we're going to see a clear of the mountain pretty much at the same time. Like I said, you know, I said exactly that. It's like mirroring, and then in the center, we're all tied up here.
Yeah, pretty much. If you look at the trackers, the only major difference here is the silvers. Everything else, in terms of crystals, dungeons they've entered, items, pretty much it's an exact tie right now.
And yeah, we're reminding me that Korivain skipped Basement of Era, and that's a good decision for him because we know, and we have the first knowledge of Medallion Quake. So we might only be 1 item go mode if Meyer is the same. Where is the non-American from? You know, I don't want to talk too much about it, but I would say I am in North America. So I'm an American. I mean, Americans, I don't want to start politic talk, but, you know, American is... You should be United States, like... I think American is wrong, but alright. We're all American. Canadian, USA people, Americans. And yeah, the real answer is Quebec. But I get I could sound like very European, so then I wouldn't be American. The cape has been found.
And I don't remember ever seeing a bumper ledge check.
No, that's very true. Well, yeah, even Korivain that did the south of the Hyrule checks Dark World, he stopped after the Graveyard Ledge, and he just did the rest in Light World. So the bumper is mystery.
Yeah, just to note, that was a really nice decision there by Rywek to just mirror and pull out the flute rather than trying to save and quit, because especially with the V31's changes where save and quits cost you a couple seconds, that actually saved him a little bit of time.
Yeah, and like I said before, Rywek, he has a tendency to like ice, so he's gonna go and go for it. And And Korivain's gonna go in spike, and you know we have just got the cape, so that could pay off. What I really don't like, a little bit, you know, is that Rywek could have just do a little check very fast, go check the Meyer pendant, and then you would know if you're in go mode if you find say if you find the cane in the first chest, you could go mode ice. But that costs a little bit of time, you know, going in the Meyer area to check. But I would have liked to see him do it. But no, he's going for ice all the way here.
Yeah, because I mean, the other thing, if you do the Meyer play like that, is you get basically 3 items out of it.
Yeah.
If you want to commit a little more time through the two in the Meyer shed and then the checkerboard cave, which is the same number of items here in ice.
Yeah. And we were saying before, like, oh yeah, Korivain saved a bit of time because he didn't check the basement of Era, but he just, I guess he made a good play of like, okay, I'm gonna go check the high density fast items of the mountain, but then if I don't have it, I'm gonna come back and check so I don't get destroyed by one missing item that I didn't check. So he's leaving nothing to chance here, and he's checking it. He's not gonna find an item, but at least he'll have a. He'll be in the know that he doesn't miss an item, and we're probably gonna see him do a spike cave now. So it's a great routing. He had to come back anyways. Alright, we got the bomb jump, and that will mean that he doesn't have to do the dungeon the intended way, which would require you to get a lot of keys and do the dungeon like 3 times. Now he can simply just push a block and go beat the boss. But because we're missing items, we'll still have to go check all the chests. But we can do it kind of fast. Especially Ambrosia is nice because we're only looking for 2 items in the dungeon before we go beat the boss. And I think we already have found 1. No, we have the big key. Oh, okay. We're doing the bomb jump here. We don't have a small key though, so we won't be able to go get the chest. And I don't. Yeah, okay. Now we're gonna do another bomb jump, or we could use the hookshot also.
Yeah, the hookshot's a little faster here, but it is worth noting for those of you playing along at home is that bomb jump is actually may look intimidating, but it's actually very free once you try it a couple times.
Yeah.
So it's a very easy tech to learn.
I'm not sure, but I think the fastest way to clear this room is not the hookshot. I think if you are able to hover, it's faster than hookshot, but Rywek is not gonna try it. And we saw a bit of Meyer, but I didn't see what it was. It was probably Ether because we just found it next to Meyer, which is the most common thing in Randomizer. When you're looking for an item, it's right there next to the dungeon. How convenient. Ten arrows. So we could go into Meyer right now. Well, if it's not Bombos, which is probably not. But we couldn't clear the dungeon if we went there because. Well, we don't have the skin of Samaria, which will be probably our go mode for boat runners. And yeah, we're seeing Ice Sword Cave at 1 hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah, and the one thing that's worth noting about doing Meyer without, or any dungeon really, where you know you can't do the boss, Meyer only has 2 items, so you would be going in for just that 1 item and hoping that 1 item is the one that you need, the cane.
Yep, but it's Randomizer, so it would be pretty likely that it is actually there.
And there is Bombos, so if that's really the medallion, that's looks like Korivain is going to go there right now, so he'll get his Bombos soon as well.
I like the mix of boat name that you created, Korivain, Rywek. I would watch that.
Well, I mean, we're kind of watching that now, right?
Yeah. Oh, and we're in go mode for Rywek. Well, he doesn't know it, but he is. So he's making me look like a fool when I said he's a fool for not going to Meyer. Well, now he has everything he's probably gonna need. He's gonna go check the thing, and if it's Ether is gonna get it like 2 seconds later. So
Yeah, you mentioned he likes the Ice Palace play, and
yeah,
it's really paid off for him this seed.
it's a classic Rywek move. Usually, before when the ints were very popular, it had its merits, you know. Okay, he has 3 hints in there, and nobody likes to do it. So if you do it and the people try to avoid it, well, you win a lot of games because just people avoid it. But now that there's no more ints in the dungeons, it makes a little bit less of sense. But somehow it still always works for him. So kudos to him for liking it.
Yeah, and there was some questions about how Rywek sort of hook-shotted through those blocks. Well, we will probably see that same play from Korivain here, but essentially what it is that if you use the hook shot on the same like while the block is still moving, you just fly straight through it. It doesn't have collision while the block is moving. It's essentially a similar thing to what happens with the mirror block delete.
Yeah, I think the mirror block delete though has something to do with the music, like the sound that the mirror makes is the same as the slot it takes for the block to be pushed, like, and the game doesn't know what to do, so it just say, oh well, forget about the block. I think it's a bit different for the hook shot, but I could be wrong. And there it is, the classic go mode next to Meyer for Meyer. Nice idea for Rywek to check for silvers, right? But we know they're not gonna find it. And right now, I would say Rywek is in the lead.
Yeah, Rywek will be opening up his Meyer at about 1:16:20. Korivain still has a few items to check here in Ice Palace, so it's probably maybe a 2-minute lead, something like that.
I would like to point out a very nice stair clip from Korivain. That's very nice. It's very difficult, but it's not like the hardest thing to do, but like you miss it a lot of the time that you try it, and it saves like a good 5 seconds. So and it's very swag. So GG to Korivain. Clearly the superior player, no matter the outcome of this game, because he just did the stair clip.
Yeah, because I mean, really isn't looking cool what Rando is all about.
That's what it's all about. I have a sticker on my car that says Rando player, you know, just because I want to shine in my city. So
I wonder what people who don't play the game think that means.
I've never asked them. I put it at the same place that people put, you know, their little stickers of their families. For me, it's just like Rando player. I should put like the ice rod cane and a medallion right there too. Think about it.
But which medallion? You have 3 choices.
Well, it could be probably Bombos, because, you know, Bombos is the best medallion. Not only can it open dungeons, but it also can kill a lot of enemies, and it can help in ice. But I could do the tree. That's right, I could do the tree. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a fan of Bombos because, like you said, not only does it have more uses, it is also surprisingly useful if you're going up Ganon's Tower, like in a Cross Keys or, you know, some other mode where you don't have 7 crystals yet. It can often make your Ganon's Tower climb a lot easier if you're going with really poor equipment.
Yeah, and we don't see it often, honestly, in normal randomizer, but, you know, the week is almost done here. We're like Friday now, or almost Friday, depending on where you are in the world. But that means that, like, in 2 days, the week number 3 of the league will start, and you know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be Randomizer. And Randomizer, sometime a good Bombos will save your life, because these rooms, you don't know what you're gonna get, and it can be a bit tricky.
Yeah, and then maybe even the week after that when it's mystery seed as well. Who knows what that's going to be?
Yeah, mystery. It's a big mystery. And Korivain will get his go mode right now. 119, 7, 20, 30 something. Meanwhile, Rywek got his 6th crystal and defeated a lot of eyes.
Okay, and so just to answer a question in chat about what Randomizer is Randomizer means that basically all these enemies can be completely shuffled. So like in the room Korivain's in, where there are 2 of those red jellies, they could be pretty much more or less any enemy in the game, any regular enemy in the game. Additionally, the settings mean that bosses are shuffled around as well. So where Korivain in Ice Palace would normally be fighting Cold Stare like he's doing right now, it could be Moldorm, it could be Vitreous, it could be pretty much anything. The only one, I know Trinex has a couple limitations about where he can and can't appear just to the size of him.
That was like one of the most perfect explanation of Randomizer I've ever heard. And a fairy saves Korivain. Fairies, they are the best. They are your friend, they are free, and they save you in when you expect it the less.
Yeah, meanwhile, Rywek is about to enter Total Rock, so effectively, Rywek is a full Misery Mire clear ahead.
Yep. But he has the no silvers, but it's only about a 30-second advantage for him when he's technically like 4 minutes or 3 minutes behind. So we'll have to see some, it's Rywek race to lose. If he does something not good, like dying to a boss or like getting unlucky with the keys in here, that's something that can happen. Or if he gets very unlucky and gonna start rotting. But right now, if he plays perfectly Rywek, he should not lose. And oh, the bird is doing a lot of damage to Korivain here. Or are we gonna see a bird toss? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and just since chat was asking about it, the Aghanim fights and the Ganon fights are always the same in Randomizer.
He went for the bird toss. Honestly, Korivain is like my favorite player ever. He does the stair clip. He does the bird toss. He uses fairies. I'm a big fan. So yeah, Randomizer, are you a big fan of Randomizer?
I enjoy it. I'm not going to claim I'm all that great at it, but I enjoy it.
I feel like I do enjoy it, but I dislike when the damage is shuffled. But I think in the league next week it's gonna be all vanilla alt pools, so we're gonna be good with that.
Yeah, the damage shuffle, because that's one of the settings as well, is you can have it shuffle damage and you can also have it shuffle enemy health. I believe the league settings don't do either of those, but what you can do, like if you're just playing on your own, those can be really interesting because, I mean, some of the settings for health, like it can be completely random that, hey, suddenly it takes 8 hits to kill just a regular enemy.
Oh yeah. Sometimes it's L. When you do some mystery races, especially if you do like the unbalanced one, like just like totally random, I got like last week a swordless seed with Randomizer with damage randomized, and it was just like, okay, why am I playing this,
Oh, that's rough. One thing to note here about what Rywek's doing, so you saw he grabbed the key and then ignored that key door. Since he already has the big key, he can steal the key is what it's called from here, and so that saves him having to go through the middle and saves him a little effort later on.
We're gonna see if he decides to do the safe route. Okay, he's doing the safe route. If you go to the door on your right in this room, you will skip the big chest. It's faster, but it's riskier because if there's a small key in the big chest and a small key in the chest you skipped, you could go all the way to the laser bridge and you would be missing your last key. and there's no even way to like come back for it because, oh yeah, you see that's lucky. So now you can totally skip laser bridge. But yeah, when you do skip it and it bites you hard, because then you have to go back physically. You can't mirror, because if you mirror, you go back to the start of the entrance. So, and now you can since he got 2 small key, you can totally skip laser bridge, and it's a fast turtle rock.
Yeah, and our tracker and Feral Wraith both pointing out in chat that Korivain was trying for the spooky glitch in Mire, which is basically allows you to manipulate the switches a little bit. Unfortunately, he didn't quite get it.
Yeah, that happens. But I like, I say when you're not the best with a glitch, or if you just try it anyways, and it's practice, Better practice it and then get it than never attempt it and never fail it, You better fail it a few times and then get it consistently than just never attempt it. So,
especially with spooky glitch, because setting it up, if you have all the items you need to set it up, it doesn't really cost you any time to at least set it up and try it. So it's worth at least seeing if you can get it. If you don't, you don't. But
and it's finicky. Like sometimes you don't really understand why it didn't work, and that's fine. You just move on with your Mire. What time is it, Korivain? You're not Korivain. You're Arusta.
I am. I think Korivain's kind of busy right now, but
yeah. It's the big key game. Do the announcement, because you're way better than me at this stuff.
So essentially what we do is for the Ganon's Tower, there are 22 locations it could be for the big key, which you need to go upstairs and get through the tower. Put in your number in chat as to what guess it can be. Just for those of you who haven't seen this before, typically 22 is the meanest guess you can possibly do, which I see you've done, which means basically tile room, which you have to sort of stand around and just watch it for a while.
Exactly. So get your guesses in. What did you guess, Arusta?
My guess is typically 17 for no real reason, which...
For real? It's also my go-to.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, essentially in one of the most typical routings where you do Hope Room and then mirror out, that puts it in Ice Armos.
Yeah. Ice Armos, or then if you do like... left, right, then it's the
randomizer room, I believe.
Exactly. It's the best rooms. Unfortunately, today I had to pick 16 because somebody took 17 before, and that was you, actually.
Yep, that was me.
So, I hope I still beat you with 16, but if you win with 17, I'll feel a little bit of victory inside of me, because that's my go-to.
Yeah, and one thing to note there, Rywek did that room with the first 2 chests, did not find a small key there, so if you don't find a small key in those first 2 chests, you actually can't continue on the right side. So that's why he mirrored out. A lot of times if people find a small key there, they will continue and do the 4 chests right there immediately afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good way to route, I guess, because you don't really want to go back to the and the 2 chests are very, very fast, so if the big key is there and you don't, you're just gonna be way behind. If you're so getting the 2 chests is always recommended, but then you can do technically also the spook, the pink magician, that you would go get the skeleton room first and then mirror, but Rywek will not do that today, and now he will go all the way to Armos and then go back to the left.
Yeah, and just call out, Rywek did some very nice blue boomerang strats. Those are actually based on the NMG speedrun, and a lot more difficult than they look, by the way.
I think he's just doing this because, he got the boomerang in Ice Red Cave, and he's got to use it somehow in the run, otherwise he'll feel like it's been, a worthless check. So now he made some use of it, and he can feel better about his decision to go in the Ice Red Cave, which is the worst place in the world. Hey! And I have no idea which checks that was, but I'm pretty sure it was 11. And Johnny Boy is the winner.
Yeah, and if you notice that Rywek also checked those last 2 chests afterwards, since he doesn't have silvers, that makes a lot of sense to check those. Takes very little time, and if you found silvers there, it would save you quite a bit, or more than make up for it.
Totally. I would not be surprised if Rywek checked the next 4 chests on his way to the top. It's very quick to check them, and like you said, it can save a little bit of time on the fight. But he has Butter Sword, so he's not like, I'm pretty sure he's not entirely like desperate about the situation.
Yeah, and just to answer a question in chat, that room that you missed, there's a hidden button in the top left corner of the room. That room is actually called Randomizer Room because in the normal game, you have no real reason to be there. If I remember right, it's just like bombs and arrows, which at this point, if you're playing just casually or normally, you probably have far more of those than you could possibly need. So yeah, it's a room you basically never see and probably don't even know exists.
But if you play some it's not that new anymore, but it's kind of new still. It's still in alpha. The door randomizer, you might get there. And I just want to point out, I know we're mostly looking at Rywek, but Korivain did do the skip of the big chest, so now he's looking for a key. And we know there's one in the big chest, so I don't know, he's good. He's there, he found one in the laser bridge. So he could have gotten burned there, but he got lucky with the last small key. But yeah, door randomizer is something that's actually I like to do a lot with Rywek. I do on some weekends, or sometimes we do some mistake runs on the evening nights, and it's a lot of fun. It's if you're used to playing the randomizer and you want something a little bit more exotic, and that's just gonna make you go what? The door randomizer. It's a lot of fun, and it makes you see the game in a different light.
Yeah, I did it. I haven't run it recently, but I ran it when it was still fairly alpha and ended up figuring out how to keylock myself with crystal switches. But
yeah,
it was interesting, like especially Pod was the one which was most interesting because there's stuff like, especially in those first 4 rooms of Pod, there are all sorts of entrances you just never have any reason in any case to ever go through.
Yeah. And also Thieves Town, I was surprised, like there's rooms that you never go through these doors because they're just useless. They're supposed to be a labyrinth for you to be lost, but now it gets really like, oh, I really need to think about this stuff, and it's really fun. It's getting a lot better on the because I know at the beginning of the development it was like you could get some seeds that were unfinishable because of the key switch and stuff, but now it's getting way more stable, and recommend a look. I know Rywek approves of it because he plays a lot with me, and it's really fun to do also multi-world of. And like we said, Rywek is checking all the chests in the upstairs Gannon, but he didn't really find anything that was gonna help him at this point. Let's see, he will open the last chest of the game. Meanwhile, Korivain is not that far behind. All things considered, he's getting in Gannon's tower before Rywek will be over, which to me is always a good sign. You know, when I'm playing and if I get to Gannon's tower before my opponent finishes, I feel like I did okay, you know. Sometimes you can't always be it's better to be like about 10 minutes behind. It's standard, but being like 30 minutes behind, that's like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, especially when I first started playing, and I mean, since I'm still fairly new, is you always want to at least feel like, you know, I had a chance. I was in Gannon's tower before I saw that dot done, because that's when you feel, you know, if the opponent has dot done and you haven't even entered go mode, that's when you feel like, man, I am way behind here.
Mm-hmm. And especially, I don't know all the runners, all their habits, but for me personally, if I'm in a 1v1 race and I get to Gannon's tower and nobody's finished, I will close the RC so that I can focus on my playing instead of always being glancing at the RC to see if I win. So I like it because it gives me the full rest of the game of this pumping of maybe I'm gonna win, but we'll see if the same here happens with the Korivain. And Ganon is in here. He talks about breakfast, and he's getting hurt.
And Korivain using a very nice ether strats there to clear that Stalfos room very quickly. Very nice there.
I think somebody in chat said earlier that the Ether was the best medallion, so I hope that person is very happy. I think it was mine of me that had the Ether. It's true that it's faster than Bombos, but it doesn't work on everything. So it's Bombos still has it's slower but more efficient.
Yeah, and Rywek having with Buttersword having no trouble with those first two phases of Ganon, getting down to this third phase, which he'll finish up really quickly here.
Yep. He's got to have the torch glitch, but he got it. Oh, and sneaky Ganon came right to him, but he wasn't phased out, and he starts doing the spins attack. If you don't know, you can attack Ganon with the spins attack, but you have to spin at a specific time. Just before he starts warping, he gets a little bit vulnerable, and it's not intended by the designer, I think, but it's a glitch we can exploit to make our life easier.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that the reason you want to do spins here is that it's a lot easier. You can technically do it with just normal sword slashes, but it makes that window to hit him and do damage much, much tighter.
Yeah. You can also, if you play swordless, you can do it even with the hammer. But it's really, really, really... I went to French for a word here. It's really, really hard. And we should be almost done here with Rywek. It's 12 attack with the butter sword, and he gets it done. He only needs to not fall in the hole. Put your GGs in the chat. And Rywek wins with an official SRL time of 1:36:46.
Yeah, and we will see if we can get Rywek in for an interview here.
Yeah.
One thing, there was a question in chat about how easy the torch glitch is to do. If you have lamp, it's actually very easy. You just sort of make sure the fire bat isn't coming at you, and you just stand there and spam it. If fire rod is a little tighter of a window, the one thing to note is that you can only do it on that very first cycle. You need to relight that left torch before the right one goes out. If you miss it, then I don't think you can't really get it later on.
Yeah. And I think we're gonna get joined by Rywek very soon here. I see him in the sitting room. Come on in, Rywek, come on in. GG, Rywek.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
I almost said merci beaucoup.
We're not gonna talk in French in here. It's an official English channel. But yeah, GG and Ice Palace, always.
Ice Palace is the answer in all seeds. Pendant, crystal, doesn't matter. Go into Ice Palace, it always has the answer.
I was a little bit surprised to see you not go check, the requirements for Meyer before going into Ice, but then I said, well, it's Rywek, he's gonna do Ice regardless, and then you made me sound like an idiot because you went in get your go mode right there.
Yeah, that was actually just lucky, honestly. I had forgotten, I had fluted to 8, and I'm like, I should have gone to check the requirement. Why did I do this? And then I kept going, but no, it was the right decision. It was the right decision after all.
Yeah. I saw you comment in SRL that you said you didn't really like the seed. Can you explain us what did you not enjoy in this incredible seed?
I guess what I didn't enjoy, honestly, aside from the boots being in swamp, was my own routing. I was going for a completionist routing. Let's just make sure that we go to all the extremes, make sure that there's no power play that could beat me, because I know my execution's a little better than my opponent's. So I wanted to make sure, like, okay, I'm gonna go all the way to Catfish, I'm gonna go all the way to like Ice Rod Cave and all that stuff. And the fact that I had last location or nearly last location that mirror really, really hurt me. I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting that so like you guys basically for the first maybe half, 2/3 of the seed, you guys routed everything fairly differently, but kept ending up in the same place. Like you go to the exact opposite dungeons, then flip-flop over and over again.
I think my decision to go to Hera, just because it was a completable dungeon, I don't think I should have gone that early. But yeah, it was just some routing mistakes that I probably wouldn't do if it was a different opponent, honestly.
I when I saw that play, I was like, well, it's very understandable as a play because your two other options were pendant dungeons, and like if the mirror was in Era,
that would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome because you just exit there, and also you had the tablets, and you could have done Spike Cave, I think, too. So
I did do it.
So yeah, so there was like a lot in this room, and if you could get the mirror there, it's very nice, and you never lose anything by doing a pendant, you know, a crystal.
No.
So yeah, it felt like a okay decision, but like we saw that you called the bird and just didn't pick it up, so there was a lot of on the fly routing.
Alright, Korivain made it. Okay.
Yeah. I gotta say, you talked about you know the execution gap between you, but honestly, Korivain did very well for somebody that's a little bit lesser known, I would say. He did a lot of good tech. Showed us, you know, the Aeropod. Showed us stair clip in ice. Also showed us the bird toss in Mire.
That is incredible tech. I'm happy that you guys got to see that from him. Honestly, I did some research on Korivain. I watched a couple of his streams beforehand. When it comes to glitches and like all that tech, yep, absolutely, he's got it down for sure. When it comes to like specific rooms or even like routing the overworld, like I knew I had that bit of strength. Like I know how to like cross this bridge.
Yeah. But you would be surprised, but you were the second one to exit the escape.
That I'm not surprised. I was firing for bombs at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to Kakariko. I couldn't be certain to find more bombs. I wanted to stock up, especially after finding out what the rats were dropping. So
that's the first point for your team. Are you surprised that it took 2 weeks to get 3 points?
A little. I think our team is a little off our game this season. That doesn't mean it's over yet. We will make it back. We will move forward. I know Ninban took quite a hit this week, but we're gonna motivate him back up. We're gonna encourage him, and we know that he's gonna secure every single victory from now on.
Oh yeah,
everything's counting on Ninban.
Yeah, because I think your team is. I would say fairly. I would say when I look at the division, you are like a spot in the playoff probably. So now you're gonna have to put some overtime in there.
Yep. Our chances of getting into the playoffs are slimming. We still have a chance, but we have to like give it our all.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, how are we gonna face off in the playoffs? We can't if you don't make it there.
I mean, that's true. I mean, would it really count as a victory against me if I don't make it to the playoffs? Because you still need to win against me. You still don't have one. Come on, buddy.
I would say it would count as 1/3 of a victory because you know it's
1/3 of a victory. If you round that up, that's 0.
No, it's not. Good. Okay. All right. I concede.
Oh, by the way, where were those silvers?
The silvers were on the graveyard ledge.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I never would have gotten there.
Yeah, Korivain, since he had all the stuff to do with the mirror, when he routed he got the boots a little bit faster than you because he had the mirror. And then he routed the catfish, and then he routed the south of and I thought that was a clever like way to do it because you don't want to do Skullwoods at this point, so that's now or never.
But hey, look, Korivain, GG's.
GG's, Korivain finishes with an official time of 1:44 and 3 seconds. Second place. That's not a bad result.
Yes, he is in second place. I mean, second place is like top notch right there.
It's top 5.
It's definitely top 5. It's top 10. It's, to me, you know what? It's top 2 in my book.
Yeah. GG's to him. I'm gonna see if we're gonna get him in the interview box.
I'm going to wish him GG's, but afterwards I'm gonna head over to the Francophones and say hi to them. But
oh my god, I see on your stream you have like a nice drawing of Marie-Mouette, of you beating Korivain. I hope you had like the one where he beats you in
I did.
Preparation.
I did have a backup, just in case I did lose. I did have my backup image. But yeah, hey, GG's Korivain.
Hey, GG's.
I hope you like that picture.
I have actually not seen whatever picture this is with the winner, so I'm gonna have to get a hands on that.
I will send it to you afterwards. I'll also send you the alternate in case you wanted like a feel-good victory, a moralistic victory over me. You'll at least have it in picture form.
Awesome.
Cool. Anyway, I'm gonna let you have your interview. I'm heading over to the Francophones. Good job, everybody. Thanks for coming, Terry, and thank you, chat. Thank you to MindOV for tracking. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bonne soirée.
Thank you. All right, Korivain. So, how you feeling about that seed? How you feeling about how it played out? How you played all that?
Honestly, there isn't too much to say about that seed. It was amazingly straightforward, unfortunately. So none of the gambles paid off. Full clearing Thieves Town. I felt terrible after turning in that green pendant. But no risky plays or gambles seemed to pay off. It was all just in the dungeons waiting to be picked up as you go through it.
Yeah, and that was definitely something we noted, and we mentioned this to Rywek, and you'll see it when you go back. Is so like with the dungeons, you guys every time like you'd go to one dungeon, Rywek would go to a different one, and then you would flip flop right after that. So like yeah, it was surprisingly linear. Spreads apart.
There just seemed like no way for either of us to gain ahead. I figured that we were pretty much neck and neck until I full cleared Thieves and found out that didn't pan out. Then I thought he was well ahead of me, but I was pretty surprised, an hour and 18, hour and 20 minutes in, and I hadn't seen a dot done yet. I was wondering what was holding him up because I was sure that he was way ahead of me.
No, you guys were actually pretty much exactly tied when you both went to or when you picked up the mitts and then went to Dark Death Mountain. Like you guys were on the same screen opening up the portal there at pretty much the exact same time for the first point.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the point where you started to get behind was when you decided to go back into Era and check the basement. Rywek then floated from there to ice, and before he even checked the mire area, and he got his go mode straight in ice, and then he wasn't go mode for the rest of the. Meanwhile, you were doing a little bit of checks. You went to Ice Red Cave and stuff, and then you started to get behind from there. But otherwise, until that point, it was very, very, very equal.
Dang, makes sense. I thought I was behind, so I left Hera early without checking it, and then I still felt behind, and I was like, oh, maybe, but what if that was the play? So I went back in, and it turned out to be nothing. Then I checked Ice Rod Cave because I thought, oh, this is my chance. And of course it wasn't, so.
Yeah. Rywek had checked those two stuff earlier, so it was like time save for you to not have dumped them, and plus you had the silvers he didn't. But then doing it, then his execution got the better.
Always the paradox of Rando. If I didn't check it, it would have had the progression.
Yeah, I know
did check it, so it had nothing.
That's very true. So, was that your introduction to the league? Was that your first match for the league this season?
It was not. I raced last week as well, and did much worse last week. So I'm pretty happy with this seed and the fact that I was able to finish it. And turns out I was only a few minutes behind him. So yeah, this one went pretty well.
Honestly, if you rewatch the race, you'll see I was very impressed with your skill level, and I'm a big fan of some of your tech. I really enjoyed the bird toss, the stair clip.
You always have to do a bird toss.
Yeah,
you always
exactly. I know, but some people, they don't believe in it, and they just like, oh, you lose 2 seconds. No, but you win the hearts of millions. and the stir clip in ice, all these little things, very nice stuff. So I was really surprised and happily surprised for some. I've never really seen you before in tournaments and stuff, so I look forward to seeing more of your matches in this league.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, have you guys scheduled out for your next week's yet, or
We have not.
is that still TBD?
I know that I am not going to be running it next week. My two teammates are gonna carry the torch, and I think we've kind of settled on I'm gonna race Mystery and Cross Keys, but we're not 100% on that yet.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Sounds good.
So here it's gonna pretty wrap up here on Speed Gaming 2. It's been a big night of Randomizer, a double header between French Canadian and Lynx Find away, and it was a tie in the end. 1-1 is the final score for the night. If I had my way, I'd say we want a tiebreaker, but that's not how it works. So maybe in the playoff we'll get the tiebreaker for this series. But I want to say thank you to everybody that participated in the restreams for tonight, especially right now my co-commentator Arusta. Was a great time with you. Mind of me at the tracking, amazing job, fun presence in the chat. Also the restreamers for the channel Speed Gaming for allowing us to get the races done here for the league, and also the runners. Thank you, Rywek. Thank you, Korivain, for displaying your skill and putting it all for us to watch, and making us enjoy in these troubled times here a little bit of oasis of Randomizer.
Yeah, and then just in case anybody's looking for some more Randomizer action tonight, Team Kappa will be playing WJPTBB at 12:40 a.m. so Eastern time, so about 45 minutes from now. And then that's on the main Speed Gaming channel. Looks like they are also doing a double header, so there's actually one race going on right now. And then there are a bunch of races tomorrow night Eastern Standard Time, and then some on Saturday as well. So
yeah, have a great night, everybody. Oh, look at that. Very, very near the collection rates. 153, 158. Leaguers that won the stats. That's good for you. Have a great night. See you next time on Speed Gaming.